Hi there YouTube friends, welcome back to another episode of Auntie A's Kitchen. My name's Amanda and I love sharing with people simple, delicious recipes that you can cook here in South Korea using South Korean ingredients. If you're new to the channel, hi there. 안녕하세요. Welcome to everybody, wherever you're watching. I hope you are having a fantastic week. I have missed you. Ding! As you've seen in today's thumbnail, I'm going to be sharing with you a very British jam tart. These are so simple to make and incredibly delicious. What I love about this recipe, you can use any filling and you can decorate them in so many different ways. You can serve these with a little bit of powdered sugar, some whipped cream, a little bit of ice cream, or my personal favorite is with some British custard. And there is a recipe where I show you how to make the perfect custard. But in this weather at the moment, as hot as it is in Korea, I typically don't serve the jam tarts with custard. I leave that for the winter. Let me show you today simple jam tarts in South Korea.
As usual, all the measurements for today's recipe can be found in the description below. I measure out some flour, butter and a pinch of salt. If you're not using a food processor, then I recommend cutting up the butter into smaller pieces. You will notice I won't mix for long as I want some small pieces of butter in my pastry dough, as this will give me a nice flaky pastry once it is cooked. As we are making a sweet tart today, I like to add a little bit of vanilla essence into my pastry, but this is an optional extra. The last thing I do is add some cold water, and it really doesn't take much. Just add enough until the dough starts to come together. For this recipe, you'll need just under 3 tablespoons of cold water. Making shortcrust pastry really is not difficult. Just remember the general rule that you need twice as much flour as fat by weight. Whether you're making savoury or sweet, it can be used to make tarts, quiches and pies. If you don't have a food processor, then just rub the flour and butter between your fingers until it resembles breadcrumbs. You'll want to work quite quickly as you don't want the heat from your hands to melt the butter. And then just add your water. The perfect shortcrust pastry will be crumbly, but when you squeeze it together, form a ball. Wrap this up and then place it in your fridge to rest for about 30 minutes. A frequent question I get asked is where I got my board from, and I got this one from IKEA, and if you're looking to make a lot of pastry or bread, I highly recommend getting one. So slightly cover your board and rolling pin with some flour and then roll out your pastry. If you have a split in your dough like I did, then don't worry, just stick it together. You're looking for about 1/8 of an inch in thickness, or as we say in England, the thickness of a pound coin. Today I'm using some plain circle cookie cutters, but you could also use a glass. I'm going to be using a Yorkshire pudding cupcake tin, so I know the size that I want. If you don't have a baking tin, then you could just make some little cups with some cooking foil. I like quite shallow jam tarts, so you can see today that my pastry comes about 2/3 of the way up my tin. But if you would like them deeper, then cut out a larger circle. I repeat this process and roll out my pastry again until I fill up my baking tray. I also cut out some decorations that I will put on top. This recipe really is so flexible, so you can have fun when decorating. Today I'll show you just a few basic ideas. For anyone living in Korea, I bought my smaller cutting shapes from Homeplus. When it comes to the jam filling, you can use any flavour you like or have available. I quite like the contrasting colours, so today I'm using some shop-bought apple and raspberry jam. If you have any homemade jam, this also works really well. You only need about a teaspoon of jam in each tart. It won't look like much, but don't be tempted to put too much in, or it will bubble up over your pastry and not look pretty when you cook it. Now you can cook them like this, plain, or as I will show you now, I like to put a few simple decorations on top. These are great for parties as you can decorate them with any theme. For a bit of fun today, I make an A for Auntie A's Kitchen. Don't forget to tag me in any of your photos so I can see your wonderful designs too. I finish with a light sprinkling of granulated sugar and then pop these into my preheated oven for about 15 to 18 minutes at 180°C until golden brown on top. Once out of the oven, let them cool for about 5 minutes before transferring them to a cooling rack. You can tell when the pastry is perfectly cooked as they pop easily out of the baking tray. After I cut out my shapes, I had some leftover pastry, so I rolled it up and placed it back in my fridge to rest before showing you an alternate way to make a jam tart. I had just enough pastry to make one larger jam tart, and because it's bigger, I put more jam inside, but just like before, I'm careful not to overfill. This then goes into my preheated oven, same temperature until the pastry is golden brown. So here we have some simple, delicious English jam tarts. Today I've used raspberry and apple jam, as I like the contrasting colour, but my personal favourite flavour is strawberry jam. The small ones are great as afternoon treats, and the larger jam tart can be served as a dessert. Have fun making and sharing this recipe with friends and family. Thanks for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. God bless. Chopokhamnada.